Foundations is now here. We can play with the cards. I hope you did a pre-release because it was a fantastic limited environment. And yeah, today we're going to start tackling some of the Foundation commanders. So first up, Koma World Eater. And this is a serious deck. Seriously big, seriously stumpy, seriously mana hungry, like seriously intense. This is a serious deck. Let's do this. Let's kick things off as we always do with the commander. So Koma World Eater, 3 green, green, blue, blue. So that's 7 mana for the commander. It's a legendary creature and it's a serpent. Yeah, you're an 8/12 and it says this spell can't be countered. It has trample and ward 4. Yeah. And it says whenever Koma deals combat damage to a player, create 4 3/3 blue serpent creature tokens named Koma's Coil. If you played Koma Cosmos Serpent, you'll obviously know the Koma's Coils and the impact that these can have in games. And yeah, this is 8 power with trample as default, so chances are you are probably going to hit for combat damage. So how are we building Koma? We are building Koma primarily as a ramp deck, yeah? The commander is 7, if it dies once that makes 9 mana. If we take into account the fact that most games end somewhere between turns 9 and 12, yeah, there's a good chance that most people will be trying to win just as we're casting our commander for the second time. Yeah, so we want loads of mana so we can get Koma out early if possible. We then obviously need to make ways to protect Koma, make sure that when he hits we get the most advantage from that as possible to get that super explosive exponential growth, to get that massive board state to then go for the win straight away on our following turn once we've hit for that damage. So yeah, we're going to have loads of ramp, and to feed the ramp we're going to need loads of card draw, and then to keep ourselves alive we're going to have loads of interaction. So this is just going to be a big deck in all senses of the word. So here is the deck. We are running 35 creatures, 15 sorceries, 13 instants, 6 enchantments. Yeah, we have the one and only Soul Ring as our one artifact. We're running 29 lands, but 36 including MDFCs, and as I always state, MDFCs are lands first. Play them as a land if you don't have a land. Do not miss your land drops. Also, I need to make a note that there is 16 cards in the considering section, which I'll go over later, and that is for you guys, I guess, to personalize the deck and make it yours and fit it to your playstyle, because by default I have not included counterspells, and you are going to need some level of counterspells to protect Koma, but I understand new players that are probably getting in on Foundations might not be super au fait with when to leave mana open for counterspells, so I'll put them in the considering section, and then you can swap them out with the other pieces of removal and some potentially higher mana spells, which I'll point out when I get to that point. But anyway, yeah, let's dive in. Let's break it down into sections so you can see where all the card draw on the ramp and everything is. So let's start with the bread and butter of the deck, which is the ramp. You'll notice as I start to go through this as well, there is like a serpent, kraken, snake type theme that's woven within. But anyway, ramp. Arbor Elf, Elvish Mystic, Flindorn Elf, Llanowar Elf, we've got Soaring, Coiling Oracle, Fanatic of Ronus, we've got Farseek, Gaia Sage, we've got Maraleaf Pixie, we've got Nature's Law, Rampant Growth, 3 Visits, Archdruid's Charm, Druid's Repository. This came up in my video last week, hope you saw it. Enduring Vitality, we've got Kadama's Reach, we've got Uro, we've got Arixothes, we've got Sky Shroud Claim, we've got the Monstrosity of Lake because it has island cycling, but the rest of that is actually more towards a win con / sweeper type effect. And then we've got AC at the Tyrant. The next most important bit is the card draw. Because we're ramping so much, we want to make sure we are getting those lands into our hands by drawing as many cards as possible. So we're running 3 steps ahead. Yeah, these can counter spells, these can create token copies of things to help us win a bit more, and it can obviously draw cards. I drawed Crisis, which is a fantastic like burst dump of draw. If we drop a load of mana into it, we're going to draw it, we're going to gain some life. Elemental Bond is just fantastic synergy with Koma. Same with Tribute of the World Tree. Uro is just a fantastic card, gains life, draws card, helps us ramp. Beast Whisper, cast creatures. Like I said, there's loads of creatures. We're going to be drawing lots of cards on this. Curiosity Crafter, because we're being a proactive deck and we are attacking, we're going to draw some more cards with this one. Same with Enduring Curiosity. Obviously, the Enduring cycle is known for when it dies, it comes back to the enchantment, so it's really, really fantastic. Guardian Project, Garruk's Pack Leader, all fantastic stuff. Same with Oran Frostfang, allows us to get that damage through, allows us to draw cards. Return of the Wild Speaker, burst card draw. AC is just consistent whenever we play a land drop, we're going to draw cards. Nezahul, as our opponents try to play and interact with us, we're going to draw more cards. And lastly, it's Last March of the Ents, and we're going to draw cards equal to the greatest toughness among the creatures we control. And obviously Koma by default is 12 toughness. So, you know, 8 mana, draw 12 cards. So quickly going over the MDFCs now. Remember, these are all lands first. So we've got Drawri's Disruption, which is a counter spell. Balagad Recovery to get stuff back from graveyard. Bridgeworks is a fight spell, same with Colony Ambush. We've got Glasspool Mimic to copy something, Sink into Stupor to bounce pesky opponents back to owner's hands, and then Disciple of Freyles. This is basically going to allow us to stabilize, draw a load of cards, and gain a bunch of life to the power of whatever is sacrificed. So yeah, all good cards. Just remember, these are lands first. So removal. This is the bit that can be customized with the considering section later. So here we go. Nature's Claim, Pungify, Rapidization, 3 steps ahead. We've got Decisive Denial, we've got Resculpt, we've got Volatile Stormdrake. Yes, this is a removal spell. Archdruid's Charm, Beast Within, Reclamation Sage, Trigon Predator. This is fantastic removal as well. And we've got Void Slime in here as well. Yeah, I'm using the Void Slime and the Decisive Denial because this just gives us more flexibility. Yes, they are a bit more mana intensive, but it gives us more flexibility within the deck to be able to do whatever we need to do when we've got those in hand. Yeah, Archdruid's Charm, as I'm on record as saying, just does everything we want. It fights, it ramps, gets us a creature, counters, exile artifacts, enchantments. Love it. So yeah, load of stuff. You can swap some of this out for counter spells. I'll get to all that later. Quickly covering the sweepers now. Curse of the Swine, Whirlwind Wave, and Slin Voda. So yeah, Curse of the Swine, basically we can exile X target creatures. And yeah, they're going to get 2/2 boars, sure, but we're making 3/3 Koma Coil Serpents. A Whelming Wave obviously bounces everything except for Krakens, Leviathans, Octopus, and most importantly, Serpents. Yeah, and Slin Voda, the Rising Deep. Yeah, ETBs, if it was kicked, return all creatures to their owner's hand except for Merfolk, Krakens, Leviathans, Octopus, and Serpents. Yeah, not many people run the Krakens, Leviathans, Octopus, and Serpents, so that's absolutely fine. You might find that a few people have Merfolk here and there and they won't get bounced, but Merfolk are tiny compared to what we're running. So just before we go on to the next section, I want to say thank you very much for watching this far into the video. I appreciate it. If you're enjoying yourself, consider hitting that like button. If you're unsure of any of the cards and suggestions I am making, drop a comment down below and I'll make sure I get around to answering that for you. And yeah, if you want to see content like this, I release stuff every week, so hit that subscribe button. Takes 2 seconds. Would really appreciate it. Anyway, on to the next section. So let's go on to the token synergies now. So we're running Andrax and Nads, Parallel Lives, and Doubling Season. These all double the amount of tokens that we're going to make, and obviously Koma is going to make 4 every time we do combat damage, so that'll go to 8. Obviously we've got multiple of these out. Spicy. We've got Reservoir Kraken. So yeah, this is going to make 1/1 blue fish creature tokens every time my opponent taps it down. If not, we're going to have a Trample Ward to 6/6 for 4 mana. Spawning Kraken deals combat damage, makes a 9/9 blue Kraken creature token. Benthic Anomaly makes a copy of a creature an opponent controls that we get to keep. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. Junkwinder has affinity for tokens, so this essentially potentially is just going to cost us 2 blue mana for a 5/6. And obviously whenever a token enters, we can then tap down a non-opponent and opponent controls. It doesn't untap, so it gets essentially like 1 Storm Counter. And we've got the original Koma Cosmic Serpent. Every upkeep, make a coil. Love it. And also sack your cores, make things indestructible, so it's more protection as well. Now onto the unblockable section, because we want to make sure we can get our creatures through to deal combat damage, because that's how we're going to win the game. So Stonecorn Serpent has protection from multicolored. Obviously most people are playing multicolored decks. They've got multicolored commanders, loads of multicolored cards within their decks. So yeah, this is probably going to get past a lot of stuff, and it's X mana, so it fills in anywhere on our curve that we need to when we're playing. Aqueous Form. This just basically means creature can't be blocked, and whenever it attacks, we're going to scry 1. Obviously, with this on your commander, it makes it unblockable. You can scry 1 when you attack. You know the top card of your library. You then make your 4 Coil Serpents. That starts to trigger things like your Elemental Bonds, so you know what you're going to draw off the top of your library. Nice little bit of synergy. We've got Wormhole Serpent. 4 mana, target creature can't be blocked. There's no tapping involved, so you can activate this as many times as you want. We are a big mana deck, so that's fantastic. And we've got Serpent of the Yawning Depths. Krakens, Leviathans, Octopus, Serpents you control can't be blocked except by Krakens, Leviathans, Octopus, and Serpents. So yeah, so unless anybody else is playing the big stuff, no one's stopping the big stuff. It's not enough to make everything unblockable. We want to make sure we've got some solid win cons for the wide and big board state that we're going to create. So we're running Finale of Devastation, Monstrosity of the Lake, Overrun, and Overwhelming Stampede. Monstrosity of the Lake, when this comes in, if you pay the 5 mana, yeah, you tap everything down, it puts stun counters on those creatures. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. It essentially gives you 2 lots of combat where people don't have blockers unless they play some bits, obviously, before your second turn. Finale of Devastation obviously just gives everything +X, and you get the best creature from the top of your library when you go X deep. And then Overrun, Overwhelming Stampede. Obviously, you could use your Create Hooves and other things like that as well. So with the land, like I said, there's 29 lands, but there's obviously another 7 MDFCs. Yeah, so we're running 36 lands in total. We've got Bark Channel Pathway, we've got both castles, Garenbrig and Vantress, we've got a Dreamroot Cascade, we've got loads of forests, loads of islands, Hedge Maze, Hinterland Harbour, Temple of Mystery, Temple of the False Gods, just because of how much mana we need to make, and we've got Yavimaya Coast. Yeah, you can start to throw in your Battlebond lands and your shop lands, other things like that on top if that's what you guys want to do. I find the Scrylands and the Seville lands really good because it just gives us a little bit more card advantage, so we can make sure we don't flood out or we can hit the land drops that we need to hit. So we're down at the mana curve now. As you can see, it's a little bit high in the 7-drop section here, but when I go through the considering cards with you, I can explain how we can smooth the tail end of this curve out just a little bit more if that's what you want from the deck. As you can see, 3.37 is the average mana cost or the mana value of cards without lands, a little bit higher than most of my decks. 48% of the deck is blue, 66% of the deck is green. We've got enough lands to cover all of that. Yeah, and as you look at spells and permanents, they both nicely curve as they go through. And yeah, let's talk about these 7 drops now, shall we? So we've made it to the considering section, and this is all the customization and stuff you can do to start tweaking out this deck. So card draw wise, we've got Bidon and Thassa, and then I've also put Sandbar Serpent in here as well, because it has cycling. So if you want to reduce the cost of your serpents a little bit more, then obviously you can do that and put this one in. If you draw into the late game, you can just cycle it away if you don't need it. As for haste, we've got Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots. This is also protection for your commander, should you want to do this. These are quite nice to have, really, because if Koma dies and then you bring him back on turn 9 or whatever, it's nice to then be able to give them haste and get them straight out and give them a bit more protection. Obviously, in terms of other protection, we've got Offer You Can't Refuse, Arcane Denial, we've got Negate, just to counter those spells. Remember, once we've got a board state set up, our biggest threat is board wipes. Yeah, so that is what these are going to target. I've not put Counterspell directly in here because it's double blue mana, and with us having more green in the deck, I've used the Counterspells which only have one single pip of blue. We've got Heroic Intervention as well, just to combat board wipes, things like that. Tangle, so we can let people swing in and we can swing out and still be safe, and then their stuff will be tapped down so we can kill them on the crackback nice and easily. And also Aetherize, and we can use this as an offensive trick. When somebody else attacks somebody else, then we can bounce all their stuff after they've dealt combat damage before they go to second main phase, and then swing in and kill them on their turn. We've got the Axolotl of the Smiling Flood. This can act like kind of like ramp for us as well, because we can put the counters on all of our own lands, and at the beginning of our end step we untap all the stuff that we own with counters on it. Also, if you want to go down +1/+1 synergies within your Koma deck, this could be a great include because it untaps all cards with +1/+1 counters on it in your end step. Removal is just the counter spells and Aetherize that I mentioned earlier. I've got them double tagged. Unblockable, I've got Enter the Enigma in here as well, because target creature can't be blocked this turn and it draws a card, so it cycles itself. I was umming and ahhing about this and Aqueous Form, because once Aqueous Form is on a creature, it's stuck on that one creature. Enter the Enigma, you can use it freely between whatever creature you need to at that specific time, and it cycles, whereas you do get more card advantage over time from the Aqueous Form. Obviously, we've got Trailblazer's Boots. I'm not quite sure how a Serpent wears Trailblazer's Boots, but there you go. We've got Hadana's Climb. This just gives you a nice land that also then allows you to buff your commander and give it flying, so it gives it a form of invasion. It also adds to +1/+1 counter synergies if you want to go down that route. If you are going +1/+1 counters, the News of Moan from the Foundation set is a fantastic include. And then some alternative win cards here. I really like Mass Manipulation. Like, if people are so focused on removing Koma from the battlefield and spend all the resources on that, and then you just basically steal their entire board, yeah, that just seems quite fun to me, and just something they don't really, or not something that they're not going to see coming. And then we have the classic as well, Triumph of the Hordes, 4 mana, give everything infect. Like, you can just delete people really quickly with that. Quickly, just want to mention a couple of cards I would cut if you are looking to add in the Lightning Greaves and a couple of counter spells and stuff like that. And that would be the Spawning Kraken, the Benthic Anomaly, and the Junkwinder. 2 of those are 7 drops, which, like I said, would help smooth out the tail of our mana curve a little bit more, making it so we don't draw as awkward opening hands. And speaking of opening hands, let's have a look at a couple of those. So when playing this deck, remember, we really need to ramp hard. We want to make sure we're hitting our land drops every turn. We want to make sure we're casting some ramp spells to get us ahead. We want to make sure we can get to that 4 or 5 mana. You know, make sure we can get some decent creatures on the battlefield, get something like our card draw enchantments on the battlefield. So then when we cast our Koma, when we get to 7 mana, we can enable that to refill our hand. Yeah, make sure we can keep going, pushing forward, be proactive. Yeah, we don't want to be sat there not doing anything. If you're keeping an open hand because it's got loads of cool 5, 6 drops in, you're doing it wrong. You've got to keep the low stuff in your hand, so don't be scared to mulligan down to say 5 cards, you know? So just keep going, you'll get there. And there we have it. That is Koma World Eater from the new Foundation set. An absolute fantastic commander card. If you have just started playing Magic, you know, you've got into the Foundation set or one of the new sets that have recently come out, you know, you're looking to get into Commander, this is a fantastic starting point. It takes me back to my roots when I first started playing. I loved green, you know, you could ramp, cast stupid big things. You could then use blue to keep things safe with your counter spells, using blue to draw more cards. Yeah, it just has all the stuff you want to do. It's a fantastic colour pairing to start learning in your Magic journey. So yeah, there is Koma. I love it. I think I might actually build this in paper because it's just a silly, fun, stupid, big Simic deck, and I probably shouldn't because I have about 3 Simic decks. But anyway, if you made it this far in the video, thank you very much. If you could take a moment to drop a like if you've enjoyed yourself, drop some comments if you have any questions or unsure. If you've got any other card suggestions, throw them down so people building this can see and we can really get our information out there to people. And hell, if you want to see some more content like this, I make stuff every week, so hit that subscribe button, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.